achakushimbirai mukabira, achakushimbirai Geza, achakushimbirai mukabira, achakushimbirai achakushimbirai mukabira, achakushimbirai Geza, achakushimbirai mukabira. Wait. Vanokushimbirai vakoma, vanokushimbirai mukabira, vanhu vachakushimbirai mukabira, movho inokushimbirai musarudzo, inokushimbirai mukabira, movho inokushimbirai vakoma, ichakushimbirai mukabira, movho ichakushimbirai Wait. Ichakushimbirai Zimbabwe, ichakushimbirai Zimbabwe, ichakushimbirai Zimbabwe, ichakushimbirai Zimbabwe, ichakushimbirai Zimbabwe, ichakushimbirai Zimbabwe, movho ichakushimbirai mukabira, movho ichakushimbirai mukabira, ichakushimbirai vakoma, ichakushimbirai vasika, ichakushimbirai vakoma, ichakushimbirai mukabira, vanhu vanokushimbirai, vachakushimbirai mukabira. Ichakushimbirai Zimbabwe, ichakushimbirai mukabira, ichakushatirai mukabira, vachakushatirai, vanhu vachakushatirai mukabira.
Right. 2 April 2025. And today is turning out to be a disappointing evening, an evening that everyone has been looking forward to. Is turning out to be quite an uneventful evening. And this is because everyone that is supposed to be dealing with this issue and the broadcast itself is actually not reachable. So I've been trying to get hold of Mkoma Nyoka Mabono here for the past hour, and he's not reachable. I've also been trying to get rid of some of the team that is involved in the actual broadcast, and they're not reachable. So let's give it a few minutes and see what happens. If these guys are going to release a video today. So how they normally release the video is they pre-record and then they upload. But at the moment, there is no video on the channel. So there's no video on the channel and there is no one saying anything. The last statement that we've had was at, so let's look at the exact time this thing was put, 20 minutes ago, 29 minutes ago. And I hope that someone comes out now and says something, because people are desperately waiting to hear direction from Geza. People are desperately waiting to get someone to speak. And I want to explain what has happened today, what my sources have been saying. So remember, I talked to a lot of people, and I want you guys to understand, I've came to you yesterday with a revelation that Muchangwa tried to go to meet with Comrade Geza, and so did a lot of other people. A lot of people have been trying to get into a meeting with Geza. And as you know, Geza is not running the technical side of things. He is running the operation side of things. And at the moment, according to my understanding, there are at least 5 approaches that have been made to Geza over the past few weeks. And a lot of interested players are in this environment. And the result is clear. What is coming after this is clear. Mnangagwa is going to go. The question is, how is Mnangagwa going to go? So this is why we are all here. How is Mnangagwa going to go? That is what everyone wants to know. And that is why we're all waiting patiently while awaiting to see what happens with the broadcast. So let me then unpack some of the things that are going to happen. So firstly, we have a big problem in the government of Zimbabwe. The government is on the verge of collapse. If the protest had taken 3 days, the government of Zimbabwe was going to collapse. That is my understanding. The government of Zimbabwe was going to collapse after 3 days of no operations at the border, no revenue in any place in the Zimbabwe government. So the first suggestion that had been given to Geza was to run the protest for 3 days and then let the government of Zimbabwe collapse. That is what had been proposed to Geza. The second option is obviously to go forcefully through some sort of military action and take out Mnangagwa. But Mnangagwa had already left the country. So Mnangagwa left the country as soon as the protest started. So those were the 2 options on the table. The third option was, after Mnangagwa goes, what then happens? Who is going to take over in Zimbabwe? Very important question. And a number of players had came in wanting to be that person who's going to take over, or wanting to influence that person who's going to take over. So where we are right now, we have a bunch of players who want to take over, or who wants to influence what happens after Mnangagwa is gone. And I'm talking about the kind of government you're going to have, the kind of people who are going to lead. These are very important questions. Who's going to be in charge? Who is going to be the president? Who is going to be in parliament? Who is going to be wherever? Very important questions that need to be asked and that need to be answered. That is where we are. We have a very serious problem right now where we are, because it's no longer possible for Mnangagwa and Chiwenga to sit together as president and vice president. So what you're going to see is that separation that is going to take place between Mnangagwa and Chiwenga. And that separation is already underway as we speak. Mnangagwa is implementing a plan to remove Chiwenga. But does Chiwenga have a plan of how to resist that move? And what happens if Chiwenga is removed to Zimbabwe? What are the implications of the removal of Chiwenga? Chiwenga has been the only person that has been able to stand against what has been happening. If Mnangagwa manages to remove Chiwenga and remove all the generals, it means Zimbabwe has got no one to defend it, and we're in a very serious problem. So this is where we are right now. This is the critical problem that we have. However, according to my sources, Chiwenga may not necessarily want to be the president, or may not be interested in being the president. So that is also another dimension that is coming in. That Chiwenga may not be even interested in that position. There have been people who said it, that Chiwenga may not even be interested in becoming the president of Zimbabwe, which leaves us the question of who then becomes the president. If we're going to have a transitional system, how is it going to be set up? Who is going to set it up? And for how long is it going to run? How are we going to fund the country? Zimbabwe has got no money as we speak. the amount of money that the government of Zimbabwe has is not enough to pay all their bills. So let me explain to you how the bills are working. Their salaries, their operating expenses, and then their vendors or suppliers. The government of Zimbabwe is prioritizing salaries. So what they do is any money they get, they pay the employees. Then from there, they go into operating expenses. So the way they do operating expenses is each division or each department is to fund itself through collection, or they collect money and they fund themselves. Then we obviously have vendors. The vendors of Zimbabwe have not been paid for a very long time. So many vendors have not been paid. And I would like to ask that anyone who is watching, if Geza arrives, let us all be aware. Just let me know when Geza is came so that we can all jump to him. So I'm still explaining to you the problem. The problem is that the Zimbabwe government has got no money. They've run out of money. And it may not be easy to run a new government successfully if you don't have a funder or someone to fund the new government. So at the moment, people who know are reluctant to go into that position because it's going to be a hot seat. It's going to be very difficult. So in a way, people like Chwenga who know what's going on might be reluctant to take that position up under the current setup. So there needs to be someone who comes in externally, who then comes and says, I'm going to assist. If you come up with a program, we're going to assist you. We're going to do ABC. If you put in place this kind of a plan. So at the moment, that plan does not exist. There is no plan at the moment for who is going to take over, how they're going to take over, how they're going to fund the gap in the Zimbabwe economy. The gap in the Zimbabwe economy is 100 billion minimum. So for the Zimbabwe economy to be normal, to have a proper government running, proper services, to correct the infrastructure failings, and to make sure that the country goes where it needs to go, you need about $100 billion. So there is a funding gap of $100 billion in the Zimbabwean economy. Most of this money has been stolen and it's sitting outside the country. Mnangagwa has stolen huge amounts of money, billions and billions, and put it outside the country. Mnangagwa and his children, they've stolen billions and billions. The reason why they're not leaving is that they don't necessarily have access to all the money that they want. So they don't necessarily have access to all the money that they want. Let me give you one example. The Mnangagwa family has lost 3 billion in Bitcoin. So Mnangagwa himself and the guys in the Zimbabwe government have lost $3 billion. And Mdara Skosana, one of the professors who was involved in this Bitcoin which was lost, is still in Zimbabwe at the moment. The Mnangagwa family also has multiple mines. So mines and other operations running in Zimbabwe. They run the banks in Zimbabwe. And all these assets are generating daily cash. They are generating cash on a daily basis. Millions and millions and billions are being made by the Mnangagwa family. They are milking the country every day, and they are not yet ready to leave. The only way that the Mnangagwa family is going to leave is if someone forces them to leave. Someone takes a gun to their neck and says, leave. That is the only way that the Mnangagwa family is going to leave. They're not going to leave by their own. So what is going to happen? The Mnangagwa family is trying to create what is called a Mafidi dynasty. The Mafidi dynasty is a dynasty of Mnangagwa, Auxilia, the children, relatives, and close associates. So close associates include Wikno Chivayo and Kudata Gwire. They are the core of this whole group. And then the enforcer and the guns are with Scott Sakpanya. Scott Sakpanya, through his security company, has got one of the biggest arsenal of weapons in Zimbabwe through their security company. which you don't even know about. The guns that these guys have got are massive and big. So for a small operation, if there was something, they would easily be able to defend a small group of people going up against them. So they are not really afraid of being taken out. Plus, they've beefed themselves up with mercenaries. So I want to go to the mercenaries, and I want to clarify a number of things. So we've been mentioning a number of countries here over the past few days, and I have talked to some of the ambassadors during this course of this week. And today I talked to some more ambassadors to say, they say you mentioned our country as having mercenaries, but we're not involved. For example, I talked to the ambassador of Pakistan, and they said they do not have their minister of defense coming into the country, and they do not have anything to do with politics in Zimbabwe. So obviously we retract some of these stories that we get from different people to say such and such a country is involved. So as far as I'm concerned, Pakistan officially have said they're not involved in this whole thing. We still have the named countries such as Sierra Leone, Uganda, and Somalia that have not said anything. We also have India, which is actively supplying weapons and drones to the Zimbabwe government. So the Indian government have not said anything after they had a visit to Upam Chunguri's office, and also had a deal that they signed with the Zimbabwe in the past few weeks. So I can officially say I will never mention Pakistan in terms of what's happening with the mercenaries. But with India, I can clearly say they are supplying the drones that are flying around Harare right now, that are providing information. And every time you have a drone, there must be a command center. You can't run a drone without a command center. There must be information collection, there must be analysis taking place. And that can only be done with government approval. And that can only be done if another government is involved, except if they're using a private company. So the Indians are clearly, since their government was in Zimbabwe, that must be a formal program that they're running over there in Zimbabwe. I don't know how legal it is to use a foreign government for such an operation, but that is what it is at the moment. That is what is happening right now. You've got the Indians in Zimbabwe running the drones, and you've got the other countries with the armies in Zimbabwe trying to protect Mnangagwa. So we had said that today marked a very important day. If the protest failed, we are going to go into a full-fledged coup. What is a full-fledged coup? You have an operation by the army and you have martial law. So that is what I'd said here, that there's going to be martial law. And we are waiting to see what Geza was going to say. So the only mention of Geza that we've heard today was by Matuke. Matuke said, achapfekedza Geza saga. Ndiye achapfekedza Geza saga. He said if Geza comes to Zimbabwe, he's going to take him out. That is the Minister of State Security. I'll try to find you that video of what he said today. So that is in response to what Geza said during the week when he said, achapfekedza Matuke saga. So it's the other way around. Okay, can you please turn to Geza? Is Geza here? Let's see. He's still not here, as far as I'm concerned. I do not see him. I don't know if you guys see him. I see all the other channels, but I don't see Geza at all. So just be comfortable with what I'm doing now, which is to give you a background of everything. We've got the whole night. I can do this the whole night. I'm quite capable of doing this the whole night. In fact, I'm quite capable of doing it the whole day. So let me take you through this whole situation. Let's be patient. There is obviously misinformation taking place about what Geza is trying to do, who is doing it with, and who are the key players. So the Zimbabwe government is made up of a number of people who are talking. And at the moment, the only people that are talking are the Minister of Information, the Ministers of State Security. The Zimbabwe military has been silent. They've said nothing. The Zimbabwe police has been silent. They've said nothing. Zimbabwe intelligence, they've been quiet. They said nothing. These are called the JOC, the Joint Operations Command. So the JOC has been quiet. And if there's a coup, the JOC is going to do it. They are the guys who are going to carry out a coup in Zimbabwe. The JOC cannot be not involved in any coup. So if you're going to see a coup in Zimbabwe taking place, it's not going to happen without the approval of the JOC. That is intelligence. Then you have police, and you have the guys at the top, which is the army, the Zimbabwe National Army, and the Zimbabwe Air Force. You cannot have a coup without that group agreeing to it. However, there is another thing called a coup not a coup. A coup not a coup is when Mnangagwa just runs and goes. If Mnangagwa just runs and goes, then there is a process. That process will follow in this way. Chiwenga is the acting president, and as soon as Mnangagwa leaves and or is incapacitated or cannot be found, then the next person to take over will be Chiwenga. Chiwenga, together with the Speaker of Parliament, are probably going to run the country for some period of time. But remember, ZANU-PF runs the government. So the head of ZANU-PF, who is going to immediately take over, will be Chiwenga. So that means if Mnangagwa was to run and cannot be found, like what's happening now, Mnangagwa is absent. No one knows where he is. He has not addressed anybody. And people just say Mnangagwa is in Zimbabwe, but no one has seen Mnangagwa. Normally, when there is a protest, you would see Mnangagwa coming out to speak, especially a protest of such a national nature. You would see Mnangagwa speaking. So what it means currently is that Mnangagwa is missing. I do not know if you guys understand what I just said. As long as Mnangagwa is not came out and spoken, Mnangagwa is then missing. Is not there. And therefore, in that case, it depends on the number of days when Mnangagwa is missing or is incapacitated. If that happens for a certain period of time, that means we now have a process that has to take place to replace Mnangagwa. Because you can't have such a situation as what we have right now. And the state security is just quiet. And Mnangagwa is just quiet. And no one is speaking. So that is what we call a leadership vacuum. There's currently a leadership vacuum in the country. No one is in charge. And this started at the protest. When the protest was taking place, there were soldiers and there were police. And no one was giving instructions. In fact, what we heard from our sources at the time was that Mtamba had just given an instruction to say protest must proceed and left the country. We also heard that Mnangagwa had left the country. So the question is, did they live together? Are they out of the country together? Mnangagwa, Mutamba, and Mangwai. Are they still alive? So those are some of the questions that we now have to ask, given the fact that we cannot have such a national protest of such a nature and not have someone at that level coming out to address the situation. The people that we've been seeing are not people in state security. We have seen people that don't really matter. We've seen Gen Fan, and they've been replaying the same video over and over again. We've also seen the appointment of Tagwire or co-option of Tagwire into ZANU-PF. But we've not seen Mnangagwa speaking about it. We've seen Chiwenga. I've seen Chiwenga yesterday speaking, or the day before. I've seen Chiwenga speaking. And I'm not sure why there is no one senior in the government who is coming out to carry out a proper press conference and address the people. We've seen the spokesperson of ZANU-PF, Mchangwa, but that was nothing to do with what's happening in government. That was not speaking to the people's grievances, the Zimbabweans' grievances. They are clear grievances by Zimbabweans. The first grievance is that They don't want ED 2030. They don't want Mnangagwa to go to 2030. The second grievance is that there's corruption in the country. And the third grievance is that the economy has failed. So people want that addressed. There's been a vacuum, no one addressing these issues. Mnangagwa has not spoken. No one within the state security has spoken. And we now have a serious issue right now at our hands. The possibility that Mnangagwa is missing or something has happened to Mnangagwa and his people. So those people that are close to Mnangagwa that are not speaking, like Mangwanya, like Mutamba, where are they? Why are they silent? Where is Valerio Spanda? What has happened to Valerio Spanda? He's not spoken since that day. And what about the other generals? You can see Mdara Njede over there, right behind Mnangagwa, as he was leaving for Namibia. That is Mdara Njede in the Air Force uniform. These guys normally would constitute a group of people that would speak in the event of something big like a national protest that has taken place. The issue that is being raised by Mdara Geza are national in nature. They are not small issues. There was no widespread violence during the protest. People stayed away. But there was an emphatic response to what Mdara Geza is said. So normally you would not just sit there and ignore it. And the response that we're getting from the Minister of Information and the Minister of Information is showing me that there is no actual direction from the top. So there's no one directing what is happening inside these ministries. So there is a vacuum, and until Mnangagwa comes out, then we must consider Mnangagwa to be missing and not available to speak. And we must also consider the other guys to be missing and not available to speak. To make matters worse, out of all the war veterans, only 2 have spoken. And Mdara Knox, he spoke through an audio which he posted yesterday. He did not address what happened on the 31st of March. The only person that addressed what happened on the 31st of March is Mdara Geza. So we have a serious number of issues here. Is Mdara Uyu doing well? Is he fine? So are the war veterans okay? Are they fine? Is everything still in order? We have serious issues of a vacuum that has happened with the country appearing to be in autopilot. There is no one leading the country. There is no one right now who is in charge. There is no one who has come out to speak. And Mdara Geza is filling that gap right now. So let's remember to keep looking here and reminding each other. Because at the moment, no one has gotten in. There's no one in that room. And let's look at their Twitter to see if there's anything here on Twitter. But as I'm saying, I'm able to carry this on for some time, as long as it makes sense. I also don't want to keep going on and on. Right, let's see. 4 minutes, it has started. Mdara Geza started. So let's all go to Mdara Geza. He's live now. And I'm now going to ask you guys to go to Mdara Geza's channel, while those who are not able to, so there are people who don't have the channel, go over to continue here. So if you're able to go to Mdara Geza's channel, you can go.
Evening, fellow Zimbabweans. My name is Blessed Geza, Comrade Bombshell. I come back to you today, as promised. Let me start by thanking you and congratulating you on the successful demonstrations and stay away we carried out on Monday. I want to thank you all for the support. Together we shall overcome. Today, I'm announcing a further step in our struggle to save Zimbabwe from Emerson and his looting mafia. We have taken our struggle to another level. We are impeaching President Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa. The die has been cast, and tomorrow we are setting this process in motion. We are impeaching Emerson on the grounds that he is no longer mentally fit to lead the country. We are constitutionalists, so we are using the Constitution to rescue the country. Section 97, subsection 1 and D of the Constitution of Zimbabwe provides for the removal of the president on the grounds of inability to perform functions of president because of lack of mental capacity to discharge the duties and functions of the office of the president. Mnangagwa is suffering from vascular dementia. We got copies of his medical results. His doctors have already told him. His family is aware. And the looting mafia is also aware. Unfortunately, some members of his family and the looting mafia, led by Kudakwati Tagurei, are taking advantage of his mental sickness. They are taking advantage of his memory loss and forgetfulness to make him sign documents they are using to loot the country. Because of this vascular dementia, Mnangagwa is no longer aware of what is going on around him. It is so serious that on Thursday last week, he even forgot who July Moyo was or what ministry he runs. He even argues with his aides on whether he is at home or in the office at work. That's how serious it is, comrades. The result is that vultures are circling around him. They are looting in his name. They are selling state-owned companies in his name. They are even hiring and firing government and state employees in his name. That's how bad it has become. Dubious characters you didn't elect are now exercising presidential powers. They follow him to his farm to give out tenders in his name. They take away your farms in his name. They even appoint and disappoint army generals on his behalf. It is a free for all for the criminals around him. This says to stop. We have also seen him. He doesn't even know that the Zimbabwe football national team is no suitable ground in Zimbabwe to use for home matches. He doesn't know all those things, yet he is the president. Every time he is publicly addressing you, the moment he moves out of script, he starts asking the chief secretary about people around him. He asks anyone around him about anything. This is the president that we have. Those that are around him are taking advantage of this situation. They are now using him to sign anything that they come up with. And they have actually devised a way of looking through his weaknesses. The fact that he's not resigning because of his ill health, we are impeaching him so he goes to rest. This is his charge sheet. Here are the irrational and captured decisions that Mnangagwa has made, which warrant his impeachment. 1. Economic mismanagement and the fraudulent issuance of treasury bills. These were issued to Kudakwashe Regiment Tagurei, the president's business partner and close associate. This criminal activity resulted in the local currency collapsing. The currency collapse wiped out approximately 4.5 billion US from the market. As a result, your savings between 2019 and 2024 were totally wiped out. 2. Looting of POSB. Attorney General Virginia Mabiza took advantage of Emerson's mental illness to draft letters in the president's name and sanctioned an illegal and fraudulent privatization of POSB Bank. We are now aware of this unfortunate criminal activity since it was widely covered in the media. As if this was not enough, Mnangagwa also sanctioned the looting of 1.9 billion of state funds through the illegal and fraudulent sale of shares in Kuimba mining house. The company is led by a private consortium fronted by Mnangagwa's looter-in-chief, Kudakwashe Takwirei. They've been helped by Mtulu Nmure, George Guamatanga, and John Mangunda. 3. Abusing the title and office of the president. Criminals are now taking advantage of Emerson's sliding mental state and coming up with dubious presidential branding projects. These projects have one objective: to loot state resources and create billions of American dollars in slush funds for their criminally enterprise and undermining of the Constitution and the people of Zimbabwe. Some of these schemes include presidential input scheme, presidential bore drilling scheme, presidential rural goat pass-on scheme, presidential bleed sticks grease scheme, presidential cotton scheme, presidential rural horticulture scheme, presidential community fisheries scheme, presidential rural poultry scheme, presidential grain protectant scheme, presidential fertilizer subsidy scheme, presidential housing scheme, presidential youth empowerment scheme, presidential HIPAA pass-on scheme, presidential solar scheme. The e-passport and border management system was marketed as a modernization effort to improve efficiency and security. However, the president and his criminals hijacked this initiative and turned it into another looting scheme. They are looting millions of US dollars per year from this scheme. This organized crime is financing their criminal enterprise, luxury lives, and their efforts to annihilate the Constitution of Zimbabwe at the expense of its people. Again, Kudakwashe Takwirei and Emerson Jr. are at the center of this looting scheme. 5. Dangerous drug dealing. We also have the unfortunate reality that the president and his teams are dealing in dangerous drugs. Emerson has allowed the Ministry of Health to issue his criminals with permits to deal in dangerous drugs. Wicknell Chibayo and Hubert Angel are using these permits to sell dangerous drugs to our youth. Ambulances are being used to carry these dangerous drugs across cities. Our youth are being killed with these drugs, just for criminals linked to the president to make millions of dollars to support their lavish lifestyle. Surely, a president who is supposed to be a father cannot let this happen around him. No sane person can allow the destruction of his country's future in this way. That's why we are saying Mnangagwa must go. For Zimbabweans, these and more cases listed in this document warrant the impeachment of Emerson. The country cannot afford a mentally ill president. Muri yeZimbabwe tinoenderera mberi semazuva ese tichikura norurimi rwokuhamai. Ndinotanga nekukutendai zvikuru nekunzwisisa kwamakaita musi weMonday. Makaratidza kubatana, right? Stay away. Crowd not shut down. Yakabudirira zvikuru. Tinokutendai muri Zimbabwe. Ngatirambe takabatana kusvikira Emerson nezvibwasikana zvake zvikananda tavakunda. Demonstrations akabudirira kwanga kuine police brutality tichazvigadzirisa nguva dzinotevera. Kune mhuri dzinova demonstrators akabatwa. Tine urombo but ndio hondo yacho. Tichaona kuti tichaita sei kuti tibatsirane. Pari zvino magweta ari kumiririrai but tichabatsirana nezvimwe zvidiki zvandinokwanisa kubatsirana nazvo. Takafoma komiti inopota izokuonai muri ikoko but tine tarisiro yekuti nemazuva mashoma ari kuteera munenge mabuda muprison mamuri. Vemachechi tinokutendai zvikuru netsigiro yamunotipa. Vana Reverend Utaunashe, vana vaMakandiwa, vana vaMutendi, navamwe vakawanda vanhu vemachechi vandisina kutaura. Tinokutendai, rambai makadaro, rambai muchinyamatsira nyika yedu. Vese nekuwana Joan Marange uko, rambai muchinyamatsira nyika yedu. Vana Mwazha, Mnangagwa uyu aonesa mhuri yeZimbabwe ndondo ainde nokukasika. Zvataronga kuenderera mberi nehondo yedu, tatora hondo iyi takabatana nevana venyu vamakasarudza imwe kuti vanomirira zviro zvenyu. Kwatakuendesa uko hakuna mategasi, hakuna mapurisa, right? Uko bumbiro remutemo renge ichitorwa sebumbiro remutemo. Taiendesa hondo iyi kudare reparliament kuti Mnangagwa aitwe inonzi impeachment. Ndokuva kuti mese impeachment munoiziva. Zvikodzero zvokuti vataendesera nyaya iyi kuparliament inyaya yekuti Emerson ava kurwara nechirwere chinonzi vascular dementia. Vascular dementia chirwere chakaipisisa zvikuru kana uchinge uri mutungamiriri wenyika. chirwere chokuti dzimwe dzenguva unokanganwa kuti mudzimai wako ndeupi kana kuti vana vako ndavapi. Pane vanga vari kuState House, right? It was sworn in Lieutenant General Sanyatwe. Akatokoshwa bhuru wake chaichaiwe padhuze anonzi July Moyo. Akabvunza kuti kana zviya uyu ndiani? Zvikanzi nevanhu ndiminista July Moyo. Zvikanzi July Moyo kupi? Zvikanzi ndiminista wenyu. Zvikanzi minista wechi? Saka ndiye president watinaye aukanga maJuly Moyo. Bhuru wake chaichaiwe, tsiketsikewo. Saka muri kuona kuti matsotsi aya akamupoteredza vakutora advantage yekukakasika kwake kwaakuita panyaya dzemupfungwa. Vakutora advantage yekumushandisa kuita zvinhu zvouori, right? Nezvimwe zvinhu zvekuramba vachibira nyika, vachidzinga vashandi vakasati vashanda, kana kutochinja mageneral basa. Vakangofunga kuti general uyu hatimudi, varongomuchinja iye basa rake avangosaina chete. Saka Emerson ava munhu ari dangerous kunyika, right? Saka saizvozvo taitora nyaya iyi yagadzirwa nevana venyu kuparliament, tiri kuisa kuparliament. Hazvirevi kuti zvimwe zvese izvi tamisa, but pari zvino tati tobotora nhoroondo iyi, right? Yanzi nevana venyu aiwa vakatsamwa zvikuru nokona kubata wakaitwa mademonstrations, vakati aiwa shortcut nyaya iyi ngatibatsiranei iuye kwedu, uyu munhu afambe ainde, nyika yedu yeenderere mberi. Ndatenda hangu mhuri yeZimbabwe. Thank you.
Inside a Discovery Bank card.
So, as I was still saying, this is amazing. We have watched one of the most important addresses, and for those that did not understand, I'm going to unpack for you what has just happened. This is exactly what we were predicting. But before we go there, I want to show you something so that we have an understanding of what's going on. So I want you to look behind Geza. And I was closely observing when he was speaking. And I want you to look at the background where he was when he was speaking. And you will notice that Geza is in a different location and he is wearing almost a different uniform now. He's got more energy. He is very, very strong. You can see it very clearly that he's very, very strong. So Geza is very strong. Amazing stuff that we've watched today. The announcement that Mnangagwa is now no longer capable of being the president of Zimbabwe. His doctor has given a report that Mnangagwa is suffering from vascular dementia and Mnangagwa is going to be impeached by the parliament of Zimbabwe. His family is aware that he's got dementia and is unable to operate as a president. And his doctor has certified that Mnangagwa is no longer capable of continuing as the president of Zimbabwe. So as a sick person, obviously, you're not going to take someone who's sick to jail. So this is what you expect. You're expecting to see Mnangagwa being taken out on medical grounds from the presidency of Zimbabwe. And a committee has been formed to release the people that have been arrested during the protests. However, the process of impeachment, as it happens, a lot more things will be happening around the side. Firstly, where are the generals? Where is Valerio Spanda? Where is all the generals I was talking about? Very important questions that still will be answered. And we're going to get an answer from the response that we're going to get tonight. Remember, less than an hour ago, the ministers of Mnangaba's government were issuing statements threatening Geza. That is the Minister of State Security, the Minister of Information. So these people are at odds with what has been announced. What this means is that you're going to see some sort of action depending on which side is stronger. So if Mnangagwa still believes that he is capable, and if Mnangagwa is safe and is local in a place in Zimbabwe, you're going to see him speaking. And if Mnangagwa is in captivity, or if Mnangagwa is outside the country in China, on UAE, you're going to see him speaking. If Mnangagwa and the generals have been captured, you're not going to see them speaking. So you're going to see a process in parliament without Mnangagwa. The last time that Mnangagwa was in public was here, when he was talking to the diplomats. You can see Mnangagwa with the US embassy, US ambassador to Zimbabwe. And this was the last time. After this meeting, we put out a report that Mnangagwa had collapsed. You can go and check it on Gambakwe. We put out a report that Mnangagwa had collapsed at State House and was not able to recognize people. You should go and check it on Gambakwe. It's there. And it's possible that at that point, Mnangagwa's illness had gotten to a point where it was worse than expected. But that was the last speech given by Mnangagwa in front of the diplomats. And now we've heard from War Veterans leader, Bombshell, Blessed Geza, saying tomorrow there is going to be an impeachment process starting on Mnangagwa at Parliament. The documents have already been drafted, and the process is going to start tomorrow. So tomorrow we're going to see a process starting in Parliament of impeaching Mnangagwa. Mnangagwa is no longer capable and is no longer mentally fit to be the president of Zimbabwe. And there is a process that follows once that happens. Once a president is incapable. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open for all you guys to come. I know you want to say a lot. So I'm going to give you a chance to come and speak for the next few minutes so that we can let out the pressure. Those guys who want to let out the pressure. There it is. Mnangagwa is no longer capable and is been removed as the Zimbabwe president. The process is going to follow in Parliament, but officially Mnangagwa is no longer the process of Zimbabwe. So this is what is present. Everyone in Parliament is going to vote for Mnangagwa to go, but Mnangagwa is not going to be arrested. That's my belief. However, his children, specifically the named children, Emerson Jr. is going to be in trouble. Auxilia Mnangagwa is likely going to be in trouble. Whereas Sean Mnangagwa has already fled long back. Sean Mnangagwa fled Zimbabwe, as I mentioned here, and was operating from outside. There's a bunch of mercenaries in Zimbabwe, as I was saying. And less than an hour ago, I explained that there's a bunch of mercenaries in Zimbabwe who are operating drones. And now, I'm sure the first thing that they're going to do is find the command center and disable those drones from the Indians. And then they're going to move on to Tagure. Certainly, Tagure is going to be captured. There is no other way about it. I can almost predict that Tagure is going to be captured. That is almost a certainty. To me, I've got no doubt in my mind that Tagure right now, if he is not fled, is going to be captured. The rest of the guys are also going to flee. I've got no doubt about it. They're going to run. Right now, as you speak, hundreds and hundreds of Mnangagwa ministers are running. And it's amazing. It's like ants getting out of a water bottle. So I've got some ladies today. So let me start with the lady. Let me see if there's a lady here who's going to join. Let me find someone with picture. Mukoma Godfrey, I'm going to put you next. Get ready in a second. All right. Pindai Mukoma Godfrey, how are you doing? What is that? What is that? Okay. Mukoma, how are you? Please go ahead. I can't hear you. Okay. We're putting in one person at a time. So if you fail to talk, I'm going to remove you immediately because the room is trying to fill up. There's so many people trying to get in. Mukoma Takunda, I'm getting you in.
Yeah, quick one. Aiwa, zvatoita zvashanda. Aiwa, ndatoona mudhara Geza totaura in parable, ndatozvibata. Kune zvatoitika, so process inongofanira kungoitika in a nicer way through parliament and through impeachment. But aiwa, basa ratorohwa. Aiwa, zvatoitika pa. Kwatofambwa kungoita ka process kari nice ke parliament kuti also ezvewo nema-neighbors edu asazotione. It's a very intelligent move. I really support it. Very smart move and shows that our military and our all veterans, they are very sophisticated in their moves. So aiwa zvaita vabata basa guru stereki because ini ndiri muVictoria Falls but aiwa vakatibvisira murume toda kuzvishandira zvakanaka. Hatitoda kupiwa mari but toda kuti tishande tive nenyika inoshanda. Iko zvino kwakabuda mastand ecouncil kunoko medium stand iri vari kukupa 12 months kuibhadhara for 20,000. Can you imagine? Where so the government really shows that it has failed. So kukachinja votichinjirawo policy yekuti at least munhu obhadhara stand yako in less than maybe 5-7 years to pay uchibhadhara ka 100 and something US dollars, but not kubhadhara 20,000 in less than 12 months. No one gets paid. If you calculate it, you say 20,000 times 12, it's something like 2,000 something dollars. But handisina kutora akareba vanhu vakuda kutaura. But aiwa mabata basa guru doing Gambakwe, that's very good. And then yeah, nyika inova kubangbaya.
Thank you very much, Mukoma. Let's give other guys a chance. Attend the Mukoma Blessing, you're next.
Hey, Mukoma, how are you?
Very well, thank you very much. How do you feel about what has happened?
Ndafara neprocess yaitwa na vaGeza iyi process hombe chaiyo zvinhu zvinofanira kuitwawo in a constitution way zvichinoratidzawo unhu hwedu sevana veZimbabwe maona. So this impeachment way ndinoona iri right kuvana veZimbabwe. Ngative nepatience tione kuti pazviri kufamba sei zvichapera zvakadii handiti mawana.
Thank you very much, Mukoma. Thank you, Mukoma. Thank you. Let me give the other guys a chance. Thank you very much. Right, Mukoma Zero. How are you, Mukoma Zero? Okay, he's not able. We're not able to hear him, so we're gonna remove him. Mukoma Bernard.
Hai Gambakwe maswera sei?
Taswera Mukoma makadizvenyu.
Tinofara hangu. I'm glad kunzwa hangu nenyaya yeimpeachment. But the challenge is neteam chabangu iyi pane zvinobuda here because vanhu vari easy, vanhu vanogona kutengeka. So I think kuti maybe ndo pachaita challenge ipapo. Team ZANU-PF I know kuti Comrade Geza vari kuti vane team iri kuvatsigirawo. So ikoko I think it's 50-50. But kuteam chabangu kundikuona sekuti kune problem. I think ndo zvakaita ngoenda.
Zvakanaka Mukoma, I will discuss that with you. Ndichakudaidza itonyaso discussa. Tofonera chabangu. Regai titomboza pamufonera after this ndichafonera chabangu. Ndomubvunza. Thank you very much Mukoma. Right, Mkoma Power Gun. Mkoma Power Gun, how's it?
Mushe mkoma makasimba here.
Good, good. Muruzo wana says right, guys.
Yeah. I think pane imwe stage yakuoneka kuti pane zviri kuitika. Tisingazivi kuti parliament zvanzi zvirini.
Tomorrow.
Mangwana ndo pane
Document ranga rakatobatwa na Mudhara Geza. Mariona here.
Ndariona document ranga achitotaura document watu wati chichi.
Saka ndichavakumbira vakomana kuti vatitumire tiri distribute document iroro reimpeachment. Ndichavakumbira iko zvino.
Tiri kutoona kuti zvinenge zviri nani nokuti vakomana aka hapana kutombomira mushe.
Thank you, Mkoma. Thank you, Mkoma. Next guy, next tunaona kuna Mkoma motion. Thank you, Mkoma Power.
Hello.
Hello, maswala se Mkoma muruzona se right guys.
Izvi zvinenge zvakati nakei because handioni kana vari kudhira nemafacts kapane kuvhota kuchaitwa here muparliament macho kana kuti kungoonesana kuti ndo zviripo. Mutemo unoti chi, they have to sit and discuss here kana kuti kungoratidze vanhu zviri paground.
Okay, chafonera a constitutional expert ouya pano achitsanangura.
Okay, I think zvakanaka murume ngaaende.
Ndinotenda Mkoma, tatenda chaizvo nezvaitika. Okay. Right, so thank you very much everyone who joined. What we're now going to do, we're now going to phone a number of people. So I'm going to start by phoning, I'll start by phoning Chabangu. So I'll phone Chabangu and then I'll phone Professor Wishman Ngube so that they can give us their view. So let me see if I can get Maduku or Wishman Ngube or any of those guys, if they are willing to speak. You know that this situation is fluid. So let me ask constitutional expert Mama Duku ndimbovabvunza kuti vataure kuti zvinoita here and what is needed right now. I know everyone is awake and it will be of great value to get someone who is a constitutional expert. Saka nombosa pamit. Right, Mama Duku is not reachable. Let's try Chabangu. Tione kuti anoti chi Chabangu nezvaitika. Right, sekuzvakwa murukita Chabangu is not picking his phone. So I'm going to try until I find someone who is able to explain constitutionally what's happening. So now I'm trying Professor Wishman Ngube, and then we're going to go until we find someone who can explain to us. If we don't, I'll find someone and we'll bring them later on who can explain what has happened, what is next, and what is the process. So stay with me. I'm here. So I've been talking to a lot of people. Some people are not aware. So a lot of people in parliament are not aware that this has happened. So all the people that I've talked to right now, they don't know about the announcement by Mudhara Geza. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to start sharing this video. So just give me a second to share this video.
achakusvimbirai mukambira.
Okay, so what we have done is that we've gone to a number of people and we have tried as much as possible to give an opportunity to people to talk. So I've not found anyone who is awake right now who is able to see or to understand what has happened. It's so new, it's breaking news. So I'm going to take a break right now. And then we'll come back after 30 minutes, after I've talked to a lot of people, and we have a proper discussion on what needs to happen. It's going to be Pungwe tonight. We're not going to sleep. We're going to stay awake until this is properly discussed. So please come back after 30 minutes. Today we're going to go all night discussing what has happened. But before I go, let me ask General Ruende to give us some sort of understanding of what has happened. And I'll also ask other people just before I go. So we're waiting for the answer, and then we'll just go after this. General Ruende, have you seen what has happened? Yes, what are you, what is your take on what has happened?
The real truth Geza and the deal agaita, number one, it double cross the people. So now the impeachment it only benefits you.
But I want us to understand the technicalities. Where is Mnangagwa right now? Okay, where is Mnangagwa?
There is some sort of truth in report. But he went outside because of whatever that was happening. But in impeachment, Chiwenga ndiye kuda a clean slate, could have been a clean slate. That's why he was going to impeachment, because outside it's anyone's board. But now, if it's in the parliament, rightful person to take over after impeachment is Chiwenga. That's why it's going to be.
Okay, so Chiwenga is going to be the next president.
Yes.
Okay. I can't hear you properly, so I'm going to cut you, then we'll call you back after 30 minutes. Right, as you heard, this is more of a political view from General Ruende that we had. And what he's saying is that if it goes to parliament, the vice president will automatically become the next president of Zimbabwe. And this is how it's going to work out. As I said to you, there are a number of players that are interested here. There is going to be a lot that is going to happen. Valerio Spanda is out there. What is he going to do? Where is Valerio Spanda? Where are the war veterans? These guys, where are they during this announcement? Because they were not there. So where is Geza? The question arises, where is Geza? Right now, is he in Zimbabwe? Is he outside? You clearly saw that he was in a beautiful house. He was not where he normally operates from. He was also very energetic. You saw the energy of Geza. He was like a soldier today. Very strong, very fit. And we've also seen the fact that this process, the document has already been prepared. The document for impeaching Mnangagwa has already been prepared. That means by tomorrow, we are going to see the impeachment of Mnangagwa in parliament. And as he said, all the people that have been arrested, the lawyers are working at it. So it means there is not going to be a martial law. Because if there was martial law, the soldiers are just going to go now and open the cells. And those guys will be out. So there's going to be a process followed. And Mnangagwa, where is he right now? I've been talking to Mnangagwa's family over the past week, and they've been telling me that Mnangagwa is safe. Every day I've been asking the Mnangagwa family if Mnangagwa is safe, and they've been saying to me he's safe. I've been trying to reach Sean Mnangagwa to tell me if they're safe and if Mdara is safe. They've not been answering. And it's important for us to know where Mnangagwa is. That's very significant to know where Mnangagwa is. Mkoma Sean Makadi. Ndiripo Makadiyo. Ndinofara chazvo. Ndinokumbira kubvunza kuti president vari safe here. Okay, so you heard Sean, he picked, and then he did not say if Mnangagwa is safe or not. But the fact that he can talk to me, it means Sean is safe wherever he is. However, we still need to establish what has happened to Mnangagwa. Is Mnangagwa freely able to walk around? That's very important to establish. Where is Valero Swanda? Where is Sengezo? Shabangu, we tried to phone Sengezo, is not available. Where is Welshman Ngube? Where are the key players? Where are the war veterans? Very, very important to understand what is going on as it is taking place right now. So it's very important because what has taken place is dramatic and unexpected. No one knew this was going to take place, but it has taken place. There are a lot of aggrieved people on the sides. People who wanted to be part of the action. Let me give you one of the other examples. Less than 3 hours ago, Nelson Chamisa has made an announcement less than 3 hours ago to say he is not a member of the SDA church and he has never met Sagure. So that is what Nelson Chamisa has said less than 3 hours ago. This statement was issued by Tabani Mpofu, Advocate Fulcrum. He said there is no way that is at all connected to Tagwire. So now I want to go to, okay, that video is actually a secret video. You cannot see it on Blessed Geza's channel. So it was running as a private video or as an unlisted video. So that is also another thing. That video was running as an unlisted video. So it was not running as an actual video. Now let me go to X and see what has happened. Right now at X, what are the government people saying? And I want to start here. Let's see if I can find anyone in government that I can talk to in the government of Zimbabwe. Let's start with Tumchango. Okay, so you can see that I'm phoning Chris Mchangwa, and we'll see if he's going to answer. I don't think Chris knew that I got his number. This is crazy. Okay, let's ask the ZANU-PF spokesperson, one of the ZANU-PF spokespersons. I'm going to ask Mandaza. Mandaza knows everyone. Let's ask Mandaza if he knows what's going on. So guys, I'm trying to get you a picture of what's going on so that we don't get lost and we are in the picture. Magadi wa Mandaza. Mtulinani ndigamba kwe. Maona ere speech ya piwa na Geza.
Really?
Less than an hour ago, Vataura iwo kuti President Mnangagwa is going to be impeached because very mentally incapacitated. Saka kuZANU-PF zviri kunzi kudii panyaya iyoyo pari zvino. Saka hapana here president vari safe here. Vari kupi president? Saka kana zvizi impeachment zvinorevei, mungatitsanangurira here kuti kana zvanzi impeachment But document ragadzirwa kariripo, ragadzirwa nani, ragadzirwa kupi, uye zvinofamba sei mangwana? Pana atingataura naye wamunoziva, wamungatipe nhamba dzake timubvunze. Mune nhamba here dze-N1 anokwanisa kuziva? Munoveka miti hakuna zvakadaro. Okay, zvinhu zviri kungoitika. I thank you Mr. Mandaza. And tatida kunzwa munhu one anonyatsoziva kuti kana iko zvino ma-MP ezanu anenge audzwa here kuti mangwana auye paparliament kana zvakadai. Mataura Mandaza, tatenda. Ko vakuru vesecurity vari kupi? Hapana kamunhu wani wesecurity ataura. Ko vakuru vesecurity vari kupi? Handi pakadai pataurwa nyaya yepresident. Hapana here anokwanisa kubuda iko zvino kana kuti chii chaitika? Aiwa, ndatenda Mandaza, ndichataura nemi tapedza. Right, so Mr. Mandaza is the former spokesperson of South Africa, and my understanding is that there's a lot that is still happening. I've talked to Mchangwa, I've tried to talk to Sean. Let me see who else we can talk to. Let's talk to General Stole. General Stole has a lot of people that you know, so let's ask General Stole. I wanted to bring him here live, but I'm going to ask him to talk to us. You see how many people are trying to get hold of? Everyone is shocked. There are people in bed now who don't know that this has happened. General Stole. Right, so General Stole is going to join us. What we're going to do is we're going to give General Stole a chance to give us an update because he knows what has happened a bit. So let's talk to General Stole while I look for other people. A huge number of people are sleeping right now. They don't know what has happened. If you are trying to call me, do not call me. Join through the link. I'm going to give you a link only if you know what has happened. So don't join me without by phone. I'm gonna give you a link. So I'm going to give you a link right now. Just check your phone if you're trying to phone me. And General Stole is going to join us very soon, within a second. So for the moment, right now, let's listen and wait for other people. Let's see who is able to enter. As I said, very interesting. General Stole is entering. How are you, General?
Mkoma Gambakwe, how are you?
I'm very well. Please take us through what has happened. What is Geza telling us? Where is Mnangagwa? Where are the generals? Where are the other war veterans? Is Mnangagwa's family safe?
As according to the current situation, Mkoma Gambakwe, I want to believe that President Mnangagwa is in the country as of now, because they have got in mind a sense that they have actually maintained the situation. However, all the generals, they are busy with their job and they are working behind the scenes. It's a state of confusion as of now. If you can check, taking from what has just transpired now with the speech from Comrade Geza, I really believe that if whatever he is saying is true in terms of the mental incapacity, then it is going to work for the positive of removing him from the office. But now it goes back to what I said before, that the whole thing is going to benefit ZANU PF. Why am I saying so? I have seen that they have taken a turn to use the constitution, which actually allows them, that is section 97. It speaks of reasons which allows the president to be removed from the office, or the vice president, once they sit down and have a joint meeting, that is the Senate and I forgot this other one. Right. Once they sit and they resolve and have at least half of the people in that sitting vote positively on that resolution, they can actually remove him from the office. But now it doesn't actually warrant us a change, because remember, once the president has been removed from the office, the power goes to the central committee. That is the problem, and that is according to the constitution. So it doesn't give us the power to put whoever we want. It is the central committee which must appoint the successor of that president. You understand? Therefore, they will choose from amongst them. Then it also goes back to that section 101, which I told you about on the bill number 2, which was actually amended in 2021. The whole thing must work for ZANU PF. But what I can comment here is that if they can take the constitutional route and having a clear evidence to show that he has got a mental challenge, they can impeach him.
Okay, I hear you. And what I want to do is, you have said a lot, and people need to digest what you've said. And I would like to thank you for joining. There's something I wanted to ask you before you go. Tagwire,
Thank you.
what is going to happen to Tagwire? He's been mentioned. Is he safe right now?
Tagwire, those guys, they are safe because they are surrounded by dangerous people. And, you know, as much as they have put too much trust into their money, they think they are controlling everything. But on an overall situation, with the anger with the people of Zimbabwe, I have got an impression that they are not safe. The challenge will be how to reach them. No one is safe right now in Zimbabwe, starting from President Mnangagwa, coming to Comrade Bombshell, coming to the likes of Comrade Nyoka Mabunu. Even those people like Chris Mtswangwa, they are not safe. No one is safe because the majority is angry. But they have got a challenge on how to reach the minority, which is happy, but fully equipped with a lot of money in terms of protecting themselves and squandering the wealth of the country without anyone to push them left or right.
Okay, but there are a lot of people that feel like they lost out. The opposition, funders, people with money. You heard General Wende here saying that some people feel double-crossed. Who feels double-crossed?
You know, every time we go into a glimpse of a revolution, there are a lot of people who comes in to say they want to fund. Politics is more of a business, and no one wants to invest money where there is a loss. So the hope which actually came with the Comrade Bombshell, I do respect that hope. And a lot of people were seeing it as a light, which is bringing better opportunities. But due to the fact of power and abuse of the constitution, that trust is being compromised. there's a lot of people who wanted to fund this thing, and I really believe that if you can check how things are working, most of the business people, they want change in Zimbabwe, but they cannot go on putting that money. And those who were actually injecting money into these things, they are actually running a loss, because as of current situation, with the level of abusing of the constitution and abuse of office which is being done by the president himself, masquerading as a constitutionalist, then it is actually making loss to other people, you understand, because right now,
Yeah.
the situation has externalized a lot of people outside, and that is compromising the confidence.
Okay, I get you. I'm going to try to get some people. We're going to be going almost the whole night if we can get people who want to talk. I understand that a lot of people don't want to talk. And what I'm going to do is, if you're trying to call me, I'm going to give you a link. But for now, thank you very much, General. I'll see you tomorrow. Are you going home? If this is true, are you going to go home?
I'm actually in preparations to go there, because we have got a meeting which we have to convene. So yes, I'm busy.
Thank you very much, General. And I'm so happy that the majority of Zimbabweans can now go home. Comrade Bombshell has opened the road. I really believe that there's so many people who are just waiting for this to work out. And I pray that this goes very nicely and people can go home and do what they need to do, which is to develop our country. And I'm so excited to be talking to you. You've been taking us through this process methodically for a very, very long time.
Thank you so much, Comrade Gambakwe.
Good night to you, sir.
Thank you.
Right, I think we've covered it. I'm so excited. Let's take a rest and I'll come back here after some time, after I talk to the right people. If we don't get people, I will take a break until morning, 5 a.m. But what I'm going to try to do is I will sit here and watch the situation. As anything comes up, I'll be coming here to give you an update. We have a dramatic situation in Zimbabwe where there has been an announcement that the doctors of Zimbabwe President Emerson Mnangagwa have concluded that he suffers from vascular dementia and is no longer fit to be the president of Zimbabwe. Therefore, the Central Committee or the committees of ZANU-PF have decided that he's incapacitated and an impeachment process is going to be starting on Mnangagwa very, very soon. At any moment, the document is already prepared and I'm going to share with you that video. The video has been hidden. It's private on the channel. I don't understand what's happening. That video was hidden a few minutes ago. Let's see if it's available. That video is still not available. And if you think I'm lying to you, let me show you. So this is the Geza channel here. You can see that we still have 4 videos. I don't see any new video on the impeachment, but that has been put out a little earlier. And lucky for us, we do have it. We do have a copy of that video. So we're going to share with you if it so happens that it's taken out. But what we have is an announcement that the doctors of Mnangagwa have confirmed that he is incapacitated. He suffers from vascular dementia. He can no longer recognize people. And this was apparent last week during the swearing-in ceremony of the new Minister of Sport, when he could not recognize even his friends. However, the question is, where is everyone? Where is Mnangagwa? Where are the generals? Where are the other war veterans? What is really happening? Where is the head of intelligence? Where is the head of police? We are in a very dangerous position right now in Zimbabwe, and we are not going to go to sleep. I'll be back here as soon as the government issues a statement. You saw that I spoke to Mr. Mandaza. He was the spokesperson of ZANU-PF in South Africa, and he has refused to confirm the situation, saying this is developing. And I'm going to be looking at people who know the law, how Senate works. I'll try to get hold of Senator, one of the senators here, so that they can take us through the process. This is amazing, and I'm really excited that we're at this point right now. Very, very excited, and I'll see you within a short space of time. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in a